Welcome to the Shabby And Man podcast. We are partners, parents, podcasters, broadcasters,
and everything else in between. Namaskar, dosto. So, what are we going to talk about first?
Well, there are a lot of controversial things that people in the media are talking about in this country, in India. So, we have something quite substantial to discuss, actually. Although I think they've both elicited more or less the same kind of response from people all over the world. We can't really say that opinion is divided.
We're talking about Rahat Fateh Ali Khan and his video that was shown, alleged video going viral, about him beating his one of his pupils.
Yeah.
And also what happened this weekend with Poonam Pandey saying she's doing it for a good cause, talking about cervical cancer, which is true, people talking about it, but I don't think you should fake your death for media publicity. And I know people say some Bollywood star. She's more like a Bollywood starlet. I don't think she's in that upper rungs of Bollywood yet.
Yeah, she was being described as a model and actress, and I wanted to ask, I don't think she's known for either. And
she's known for OnlyFans, I think.
Known for?
OnlyFans. You know, the website.
Yeah. And I thought it was in very bad taste. So let's talk about, which one do you want to talk about first? Rahat Fateh Ali Khan first?
No, first I thought we'd talk about what we do every couple of months. I thought I'd congratulate you because I found out yesterday that you are once again the most listened to Asian radio presenter in the United Kingdom, in commercial Asian radio.
In commercial Asian radio, that's right. And I am extremely grateful to all my wonderful fans who make sure that they tune into my show, which is, by the way, weekdays from 9 a.m. on the UK's biggest Asian mix, as we like to call it, the number one commercial Asian station, the biggest Asian station, Indian radio station outside of India, and all the rest of it, Sunrise Radio. So we get handed our listening figures, Rajars, known to those in the business, every quarter, and I'm very chuffed to know that I am the number one show on the station, which comes with its set of responsibilities. I think it is a job that I absolutely love. It is something that I love to do. It is work that doesn't feel like work. But also, popularity comes with a sense of responsibility. And I'm looking forward to the next 3 months, I hope.
Isn't that some kind of Spider-Man quote?
Which is?
I can't remember. Something comes with a lot of responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility. Before Spider-Man, I think it was a politician who said that, no? So the Rajars have been very good, touch wood, and I'm very, very grateful to everyone who tunes into the show and gives it so much love.
So who are we talking about first?
Let's talk about Rahat, because that story broke first.
Right. Now, before we talk about Rahat, you have interviewed him many times. You have so many photographs with him. I think you've done a couple of charity gigs with him.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would have thought he's a good friend of yours.
Well, I'm really...
It was a working relationship.
Absolutely a working relationship, if you can call it even that. But you're right, I've seen him on many occasions. And as people know that virtually everybody in the public eye has a public face and they could be completely different in their private lives. He comes across as a very pleasant man, very talented, indeed very, very talented. He's one of the few artists who can pack out Wembley Stadium, which is no mean feat.
This is my point. Do you separate the artist and his art from his personal life?
I don't think you can.
He has such a body of great work. I'm trying to think of them. Mere Rashke Kamar, Mast Donan.
Yeah, Daga Bazre, Teri Aur Singh Is King. I mean, any big song from Bollywood you can think of in the last
we've seen him in concert so many times.
Years.
He's fantastic. He really gets the crowd going. His Bollywood stuff, his Sufi stuff,
his Qawwalis.
Yeah. So you're saying that you can't separate?
I don't think you can. Now, when it comes to somebody like him, I'm a broadcaster and I'm on an Asian music station, and I had to really make an effort because the story left a bad taste in my mouth, and I did not agree with his justification for it, which was even more ridiculous than the actual story. I made it a point to not play his songs all week last week, but I had to really very, very carefully avoid all Rahat songs, because as you're saying, in the last 10 years, 12 years in Bollywood, it's virtually impossible to do a good Bollywood show and not throw in at least half a dozen. I'm not even talking about one or two, half a dozen chart busters that he's done. And he's amazing at what he does, absolutely. But I don't think, in this case, I feel strongly about it. You cannot hit somebody with a shoe, hit them so mercilessly, and then say that...
Have you seen the video?
Yeah, of course I have.
Oh.
And then say that,
I didn't notice with the shoe.
Yeah. And he kept saying, where is botal kahan hai, botal kahan hai? And then he ascribed that to something else as well.
Holy water.
Holy water or something, which I think is absolutely reprehensible. There's photograph. In this day and age, we live in the age of social media. There's photographic and video evidence of what he's done. So I don't think there's any coming back from it.
No, just to be devil's advocate, he has apologized. He stood with his victim, so-called victim, and they've kind of sorted it out.
Can you actually apologize for hitting somebody with a shoe?
Not really.
What can be the justification for it?
Oh, I didn't even notice with the shoe.
Yeah. I don't know. You've not seen the video, right?
No, I haven't.
Because I think they took it down very swiftly as well. But it is unforgivable. Anyone who's seen the actual footage, it is unforgivable.
Let's just say allegedly, if it's true.
Allegedly, supposedly. And he is saying that it's being planted by people who want to bring me down, it's being planted by people who want to tarnish my reputation. But again, I mean, not my place to say anything, but those in the know, they have a lot of Rahat stories to share, which is not our secret to tell.
No, because there's so many stories about so many film stars.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just that when something like this happens, then you start thinking about whether or not to believe those stories, right? So it's a tough one. I mean, the British Asian Trust, the Princess Trust, which the king is a patron of, they have already distanced themselves from Rahat. They've already publicly announced that they're not going to be collaborating with him anymore.
He's left his manager. I think his wife is going to manage him now.
Yeah, so there's lots of things that's happening in his life. It is sad for fans of his talent, fans of his music. That's what it is.
Oh, I think he is very talented.
At the end of the day, he's going to get his comeuppance, whatever is in his destiny, whatever God decides, whichever way this is going to play out, because there are people who commit far worse crimes and get away with it as well. Let's not forget that is going to happen. But I think anyone who appreciates his music is right now sad more than angry, because it does feel that we put our superstars on a pedestal, and when you see something like that, it just kind of makes you feel sad. That's what it is. So the Rahat story, because of the superstar that he is, not just in the Asian subcontinent, but in the UK, in America, in Canada, he has sell-out shows every year.
I was going to say that it's very hard to sell out Wembley, but he always does.
Always does. Absolutely. And it's the non-resident Asians who are as big a fan of Rahat as those who live in India, Pakistan.
And I was going to say, I think his music transcends just Pakistan.
Yeah.
Loads of Indians, Sri Lankans, Bangladeshis.
I mean, like I said, Bollywood would be much poorer if you were to take out Rahat songs from the film scores, from the soundtracks of films that he's done. I mean, it would be such a massive blow to Bollywood, because he adds so much depth and warmth and character to every song that he sings.
Well, let's see how this story blows. I think that it'll blow over in a couple of
it will. It always will.
And he'll be back.
Because we live in a world where the next controversy, the next disaster...
It's never too far away.
Never too far away. The next trending video is just around the corner. So I'm sure it will blow over. But anyway, just keeping fingers crossed and hoping that, it's, I don't even know, resolved. There's no resolution to this. But let's see how this story pans out, more importantly.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Poonam Pandey.
Yeah.
The rumors all over, all the media which said that she had passed away due to cervical cancer.
And that too at age 36 or something
32.
like that. 32, yeah.
And then a day later, she says it was a publicity stunt to raise awareness.
Yeah.
Now, I have a problem with the Indian media. Shouldn't they be verifying and checking their sources?
That's what a lot of people are saying, that where are the journalistic ethics?
I can understand all those internet sites who follow people at airports putting it up. I understand that, because...
But you're saying, what about credible media sites?
Yeah, they're not really journalist sites. They're just guys trying to...
Yeah, I think it's as much a slap on their face for them. It's as much a wake-up call for them to not take everything at face value and to, verify their sources, to believe in journalistic ethics.
Do you agree with her that this is a good thing she did?
Oh my God, how can anyone agree with her?
No, it has raised awareness of cervical cancer.
Absolutely not. I don't think it has raised awareness about cervical cancer at all.
No, people were talking about it.
No, but this is the wrong way. This is the wrong way of going about it.
But I also feel that this is totally the wrong way.
I feel that I already had very little respect for her. now I have even less respect. And the only way to deal with it is to not give her the time of day and not talk about it at all. But we have to talk about it because it's so shocking. You know what she's done? She's not raised awareness for cervical cancer.
She's made it harder for those who have it.
And she has just, disregarded something as final and as emotional and deeply unchangeable as death, which so many people confront, the death of their loved ones, those who are cancer survivors, cancer warriors, those who are battling cancer, those who may not have another day to their name. You have trivialized something as emotional and deep as death. Nothing, no publicity, no cause, nothing can justify that. I don't think she's done a favor to cervical cancer at all. Do you reckon people will when you hear this story, you might Google Poonam Pandey, you might Google other things.
First day people were talking about.
Absolutely not. Yeah, the day we knew, when we didn't know it was a publicity stunt, obviously people were talking about it. That's what I'm saying. Obviously. Right. No, but I think there is absolutely no silver lining to this. There's absolutely no excuse for doing something so shocking because, like I said, that's what you've done. A question of trivialized death.
No, it's also a question of cry wolf. Now, if someone in Bollywood...
no, I don't think anybody's going to be stupid enough. But the next time something happens to her, people are going to not give her time of day.
Bollywood says, "Oh, this has happened to me. This happened to me." People are going to.
Not everybody in Bollywood, because don't you agree that this is not something any normal human being would do? Because that's why people are calling out not just her but even her team. But whose bright idea was this?
It was a PR team that did it.
Whose idea was it to? And okay, she was foolish enough to follow them and not have a mind of her own. Nonetheless, clearly it was suggested to her by someone, right? But I don't think she's done it officially for any charity or anything. It was just something, maybe somebody close to her is suffering from it and she just thought. Because it's not that she's saying that I'm doing it for this charity to be able to raise. No one in their right minds who has ever faced death, who has ever seen their loved ones suffer, can ever endorse this. But as a form of publicizing or raising awareness for something, which is absolutely ridiculous. I think people like Poonam Pandey, just giving them the time of day, giving them a pedestal, following them, can be massively detrimental, as we have clearly seen. These are people who are famous for the sake of being famous. They may not have a shred of talent. They may not have anything interesting, exciting, encouraging to say to anyone other than just pose in skimpy clothes. I had very little respect for her even before this story broke, and now I just feel that she's foolish other than anything else. Sometimes these women are quite wily, and they know how to use social media to their credit to get away with something and get cheap publicity or get, spur of the moment clickbait. But she's just foolish. Insensitive is the word. How insensitive can you get?
It was very insensitive.
So absolutely.
We agree on the same thing, that this is not something.
This is not how you raise awareness. Yeah. Absolutely. In fact, there are people
maybe there's some legal ramifications of pretending you're dead.
God alone knows. But ordinary people are now posting videos on social media saying that, my mental health has been affected by this. Not because I knew who Poonam Pandey was, but because her death touched me so deeply. But when you hear about anyone's passing, naturally, being a human being, you will feel sad. You forgive everything, right? You say it doesn't matter what they were, when they were, whether you like them, dislike them, may their soul rest in peace. And then to be told that this was just a stunt. So many people are saying that we've been unable to cope with it emotionally because we have seen death of our loved ones from close quarters, and we have been through, whether it is cervical cancer or any other form of cancer, and we know what that journey is like, where you really don't know, even to this day, there's no certain cure, right? You really don't know whether you're going to come out of the dark side of the tunnel. To trivialize that and to be so insensitive to that is absolutely shocking. I think this girl should really be banned from the media. Anything she does hereafter should not be reported. No one's interested, no one cares. That's how I feel.
So we know exactly how you feel.
Yes. I'm talking about it actually on my show tomorrow as well, because I know any sensible person is going to say exactly the same thing, that it's not so much about, as you're saying.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. There are quite a few people who are defending her, saying at least she's raised the awareness of cervical cancer.
What happens when you
Maybe cervical cancer is something that in India they don't talk about much.
Well, there are loads of things in India that they don't talk about.
Yeah, so people were having a discussion about it.
There you go. The two sides to every coin. Clearly, even somebody must have talked her into doing it, right? Yeah. So if she felt it was okay. But these are the two big stories, and sadly they're both controversial in nature. But that's how it is. I mean,
talking about controversies, you never see first day, first show of a movie.
Yeah.
But you saw Fighter, didn't you?
I did.
And that is quite controversial because, especially if you live in the West, if you live in England, it's very blatantly India, Pakistan.
Yeah.
Is it Top Gun-ish? Is it like Maverick?
I haven't seen Maverick, so I wouldn't know. But it is.
By the way, this movie's Fighter, which stars Hrithik Roshan and Deepika and Anil Kapoor, correct?
Yeah. Yes. It's directed by Siddharth Anand. It's his first directorial for his own production house.
But he has a history of making these sort of movies. He made War.
He directed Pathan. He did Bang Bang earlier. So he is an action man. But apparently he did a few romantic films as well. Apparently, I forget now which ones. He earlier in his career, he started out with romantic films and then he thought, right, action is my forte. I enjoyed it immensely. I thought the action was done to a superb level. For the first time, you didn't feel like you were watching a video game being played. I felt Hrithik Roshan at 50 gave a calm, collected, measured performance. He looks like a Greek god. There's absolutely no denying it. Deepika Padukone, I thought, was going down the very predictable route where she'd be wearing glamorous clothes in every film.
Judging by the video.
Judging by the songs and stuff. Because that would be a shame, because Deepika, I think, is one actress who can play the girl next door so convincingly, so beautifully, and she does. And despite the jingoism, despite the India-Pakistan thing.
That's the thing, they're saying it was overdone. Was it overdone?
I felt it wasn't. On the contrary, I felt for the first time Bollywood was really kind of, confirming to the less is more theory, which it normally doesn't. Because
the last big hit a couple of months ago was Gadar.
Gadar 2, yeah.
And that is also quite...
That is not my kind of film at all. I have never gone to those kind of films. That was also a huge hit. That was a huge hit because, they're appealing to the kind of people who, for one reason or the other, feel that the only way to show patriotism is to deride the other nation, call them, all kinds of names, to kind of completely show them in a poor light, to show them as one-sided, one-dimensional villains. God knows there are enough people like that. It might even have had a political agenda, I don't know.
But saying that, there were all these American movies where the baddies are Iranians.
Yeah.
I the baddies were Russians.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I need to justify it to anyone in the same way that people who didn't like it need to justify it to me. But I enjoyed it immensely. I don't know what I was expecting, but a first day, first show. And sometimes these films, you kind of midway through, you're looking at your watch saying, oh my God. But when the interval happens, you're buzzing and you're thinking, oh wow, we're halfway there already. So that is a feeling I haven't got in a long, long time. And you and I, we've hardly seen any of these action films, right? Not on the big screen.
No, but we must watch, because Animal has come onto Netflix.
Yeah,
so
we must watch it just to see what the fuss is all about.
It's a very long movie, I believe.
Yeah, very long. Just to see what the fuss is all about, because the only way to judge it is by watching it yourself. I try and base my opinion on what I'm reading, the interviews that the stars give, because that gives you a very good idea as well, the trailers, the first look, etc., etc. And also, I have certain reliable journalists whose assessments I normally tend to agree with. So if there's a film that I have seen and they have seen, we always end up saying the same kind of things. So there are people who you kind of rely on if you've not seen a film firsthand. Also, I always feel I try and initiate this discussion on my show as well. It's not just enough for me to say I loved it or I hated it. You've got to give me reasons for it, right?
Why you loved it.
So if you can substantiate your claim and say that this is exactly why I felt that it was really not worth my while, or as I'm saying, I felt the action was great. I felt there was jingoism, yes, but it could have been a far more over the top kind of Deshbhakti wala film, which it wasn't. Of course there were the odd dialogues here and there, which is what a patriotic film is all about. Plus it came out the day before Republic Day. What else were you expecting? And it was sharply edited, which I loved. No scene carried on for longer than it needed to, and that I do think that it is a big step for action films in Bollywood. If this is going to be the trend, if people are going to be smarter about the way they shoot, about the way they edit. I have another big problem with the way big budget films are now announced, whether it is Nitesh Tiwari's Ramayan, whether it is
trailers and things.
Whether it is Nitesh Tiwari's Ramayan, whether it is Prabhas and Deepika's Kalki 2898 AD, whether it is Allu Arjun's Pushpa the Root. all the movies are touted as one of the biggest films in India, with the biggest budgets.
Well, they have to do that.
That means zero.
I know, but they have to do that.
I know they have to do it, and for all you know, it might be true. But that has lost its meaning now. They kept harping on about Fighter being one of the most expensive films ever made. So what if the story isn't good?
But I heard
people are still going to slate it.
I heard you say on your radio show recently what the stars get paid, and it was like the South Indian stars get paid much more than Bollywood stars.
150 crores is like the done thing for them, whether it is Prabhas, whether it is Yash. Rajnikant clearly is getting 250 crores. Allu Arjun has done a very smart thing. He's saying, don't pay me anything for Pushpa 2, just give me 30% of the profit share. And they're saying the projections are that it's going to cross 1,000 crores. Yeah, you do the maths. Compare that to the fact that Hrithik Roshan was the highest paid man on Fighter, 50 crores. Yeah, Deepika got 5, Anil Kapoor got 7, something like that, allegedly, reportedly. But Bollywood stars obviously are not that well paid compared to their South Indian counterparts. But I think at the end of the day, calling something one of the most expensive films does not add to its appeal, in my humble opinion, one way or the other, because it could be an honestly made, beautifully done, medium budget, human interest story like 12th Fail, which is winning hearts all over. That's another thing we have to watch. And you could still walk away with all the glory.
We didn't even mention the Filmfare Awards. But that did win a lot of awards.
And everyone is saying Vikrant Massey has absolutely hit it out of the park. He's been around doing secondary roles here and there for the last 10 years almost. But this is his moment to shine. And so, it doesn't have to be the most expensive film. It's the way you've made it. It's where you've put the story across. I think the audience now is smart and shrewd and well educated enough. By that I mean they've seen enough world cinema on streaming platforms to appreciate something which has been done intelligently.
Okay, so just before we go then, anything you're looking forward to? Like there's Sanjay Leela Bhansali's
Hira Mandi.
There's also that Crew or something, some movies coming out.
Yeah, The Crew, which is Kareena Kapoor Khan, Kriti Sano and Tabu, I think, right? They play air hostesses. It is called The Crew, where 3 of Bollywood's top women from 3 different generations, if you think about it, Tabu, Kareena, that's coming out. I'm a little wary, I have to say, of Hira Mandi. Much as it looks as an opulent, extravagant,
didn't the trailer come out this
beautiful, Sanjay Leela Bhansali, it leads us to that world of opulence and decadence. But is there going to be any substance? Please say yes.
I'm sure there'll be substance, because
I hope so.
He can concentrate on, instead of doing a movie, he's got like 6 hours to do it.
I know, and they're saying that this has been in the making for 10 years, close to 10 years he's been planning it, right? And Netflix has given him all the money, all the creative freedom.
It's a passion project.
It's a passion project, but I hope that sometimes, it's the things that we expect from him and the OTT stuff, we wouldn't have it any other way. Sometimes that ends up taking center stage and the story kind of sometimes falls behind. I hope that is not the case. But again, they've been very clever. They dropped the first look towards the end of 2022, promising the entire series in the second half of 2023, which didn't happen.
We know that got delayed, yes.
No, but even now, they have given us the trailer and they haven't given us a streaming date.
I think it got delayed because he was suddenly making his own albums.
That's fine. I mean, I had a lovely chat with him in the Savoy when he came to publicize that. But what I'm saying is that even now, I hope they're not doing a Poonam Pandey and Crying Wolf too often. They're dropping a trailer, but they haven't told us when it would stream. So I hope it's not going to be another wait for 6 months and then kind of coming back to the magic of Sanjay Leela Bhansali. But anyway, we live in hope.
Yes. And hope it is.
Hope it is.
Should we say bye-bye with that?
Yes, I think we should. Until the next time, we are hoping that we'll have lots more interesting, exciting things to talk about in the next 2 weeks. By the way, if you have any comments on what we have said, please do get in touch with that. With us on our social media platforms, whether it is Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, X, whatever. Shabby And Man.
I've discovered a new platform now.
Which is?
Recently, I've been posting stuff on, I know I'm 20 or 30 years too old for
TikTok, is it?
TikTok.
Well, there you go. So we're on TikTok as well. If you want to leave any comments, please do tell us what you think about what
Shabby And Man on TikTok.
Yes.
Shabby And Man podcast, I think, on TikTok or whatever. You'll find us.
Until next time.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.